Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Again we are going to deal with one of the Euler's content. This is Euler's factorial integration having lower limit as 0 and upper limit as infinity. This is the function x raised to the power n e raised to the power minus x, and of course you can see the n can vary over here. N is n over here can be 0, 1, 2, 3 and of course larger values. I am going to prove this by two methods. One is by parts and another is the counter integration. By parts is going to be a separate video. In this video we will learn this by counter integration. Of course we are going to use the partial differentiation here, which is used in counter integration. So let's begin. Before moving further, let us fill this integral first. Let us put the value of n here as 0, then 0 factorial is equal to 1, and if n is 0 here, then x raised to the power 0 is again 1. So this overall equation over here could be written over here like this, as integral of 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus x dx. As we know that integral of e raised to the power minus x is equal to minus of e raised to the power minus x, and of course there is a constant 2. So I can write it as over here, my putting up the limits minus of e raised to the power minus x limits from 0 to infinity. Putting the values in the first function, we get the integration as 1, and we can verify it as follows. You might be thinking why I am all doing this, but the overall equation 1 over here is going to be very useful for us before moving to the counter integration method. So we have proved our equation here, and you might be thinking what is counter integration. I am not going to tell you about its definition, you can Google it, but I am going to show you the example so that you can understand it in a better way. Counter integration better uses the repeated differentiation for its overall integration or final integration by introducing parameters like t, which I am going to introduce over here. You might be thinking what does a parameter do? Actually, parameter is a fixed quantity, that is, it doesn't vary with the value of x. What is x? X is the variable over here, and if I introduce a parameter t, then x is going to be independent of x or any other variable. Okay, so let's start our method. So since we are going to introduce a new parameter t, let us substitute x is equals to t mu tu in the equation over here, so that we can start our method. And since t is going to be an independent parameter which is independent of the variable x and also u, so if we differentiate this equation, we are going to get d of x is equal to t d of mu, since t is going to be as a constant in this equation with respect to x and u. Okay, also you might be thinking, if t is constant with respect to x, then which is going to define x as a variable? X is going to vary according to u, as u is also a variable over here. So after substituting x is equal to t mu in this equation we get our equation as follows like this. You will get, as we have also concluded that dx is equal to t du and x is equal to tu, so we get this over here after substituting these two values in this equation as integral of t e raised to the power minus tu du is equal to 1, which is very easy to understand. Now I am going to tell you a new fact over here about t, which has nothing to do with the original equation which we have to prove. T is going to be greater than 0 by we can conclude this from this equation, and the fact that integral of e raised to the power x over dx from 0 to infinity is not finite value. you can feel it as e raised to the power x is an increasing function, and then at x getting very larger, the value of e raised to the power x also gets very large. So of course the function e raised to the power x is not integrable over the range 0 to infinity. You might be feeling of this. So if t is less than 0, if we assume that, then minus of t of mu is going to be a positive value, and its integral from 0 to infinity would be like this only. So it would not be integrable. So we got a new fact that t is greater than 0, although it has not much to do with the original proof. Now coming to our derived equation over here, writing it over here again. So now since we know that t is independent of the variable u, so I can move this quantity t to the right hand side of the equation and making this equation look like this. Okay, I can do this because t is an independent of u, which is the variable. So I can move this, since constant can be moved over the two sides of the equation, so during integration. So I have done this, and there is no problem in doing this. Okay, now we have got this equation. Now comes the role of partial differentiation. You might be thinking, what is partial differentiation? Of course we differentiate a equation by taking like we write as dy by dt. So what do we mean by dy by dt? We are differentiating the equation with respect to t, or dy by dx, we are differentiating the equation with respect to x. Similarly, if we write as del y by del x, this implies that like this, or del y by del t, this implies that we are differentiating or partial differentiating the equation with respect to x, considering x as the variable, although it may or may not be in the equation, and the other factors as constants. So if I am differentiating with respect to partial differentiating with respect to t to this equation over here, then all the other variables like u are going to be constants with respect to t. Okay, since this is a partial differentiation, so del y by del t of this equation, and of course differentiating both sides, and del y by del t of 1 upon t. Of course is easy to guess that del y by del t of 1 upon t is minus 1 upon t square, and del y by del t of integral 0 to infinity e raised to the power minus t mu is going to be, as of course integral doesn't changes, and del y by del t goes inside and differentiate the equation e raised to the power minus t mu, considering u as a constant now, because our del t is going to be the variable. Okay, t is going to be variable in this partial differentiation. So of course e raised to the power minus t mu differentiation with respect to t, partial differentiation with respect to t, is going to be minus of mu e raised to the power minus t mu du is equal to minus 1 upon t square. Of course it's a basic differentiation, so you can understand it. So let me summarize this what I have done until now. From this equation, substitution of x is equal to t mu lead me to this equation, and from this equation, considering t as constant, I got up to this equation, and partial differentiation with respect to t leads me to here. This is the summary till now. Now we are up to this equation, and there was a minus sign over here and a minus side to both of the sides which I have cut down. Now again when we partial differentiate this function with respect to t, then again the same process is going to be defined. The u is again going to be act as a constant in this differentiation, because we are going to differentiate with respect to t, and partial derivative of this function is again going to be minus u e raised to the power minus t mu. Okay, which is very easy to understand. And again partial derivative of this function is going to be minus 2 over t cube. This is the most basic one, and the overall equation goes like this. When there is a mu, and when the mu comes from here, we write it as mu square e raised to the power minus t mu and minus 2 over t cube. after two partial differentiations with respect to t, we are up to this equation. And again, if we do again a partial differentiation with respect to t, then of course you can see the sequence and again write it as mu u cube e raised to the power minus t mu, and of course 1 into 2 into 3 over t raised to the power 4. Or you can again differentiate it and putting t u as a constant and t as variable, so it's easy. So doing it again and again, we can have a general formula for it. Like you may have got up to the sequence that there is a 3, then again there is a multiplication up to 3 for all the natural numbers, and there is 3 plus 1, that is 4. So if we go to the general equation of this general equation for this to the nth partial differentiation, we are going to differentiate it for the nth time, then we are going to obtain this equation as u raised to the power n e raised to the power minus t mu, and n both are same over here as 3 and 3, and n factorial and n plus 1 over here as like 3 plus 1 4 over here. Okay, so we have now a general equation obtained as like this from integral 0 to infinity u raised to the power n e raised to the power minus t mu n factorial over t raised to the power n plus 1. So actually we are already done up with the solution, but to obtain the original solution we put t as 1 in this equation and obtain this following equation over here, which is same as the original equation. The thing which matters is that there was x and here it is u, but I have already told initially that the u and x both were the variables, and actually u was determining the variability of x since t was a constant there, or let's say parameter. So if we substitute u as x, since both are the variables, we get the original equation here as x raised to the power n e raised to the power minus x integral from 0 to infinity dx is equal to n factorial. Okay, so we are done up with our Euler's factorial integration. Thanks a lot, and like this video, subscribe to my channel. And it's better, I would like to tell you that it's better integral over written over here, which has more value than this. Okay, so bye.